don't be afraid to push those guys a whole round.
On this video, we'll talk about the 3 biggest lessons we learned from the 2021 season and how we can apply that to the 2022 season. One of the things that you often talk about is try to skate where the puck is going. Explain what you mean and how you learned a lesson from last year.
Yeah, you want to get to, whoever's going to be on the cover of next year's magazine, not this year's magazine. So, Christian McCaffrey's on the cover. Oh, I got to get Christian McCaffrey. I got to get Dalvin Cook. Those are the guys that did well in the past. You want the guys who are going to do well this year, who are then being recognized on the cover in the future. So, I thought Jonathan Taylor, I paid way up for him, and people were like, oh, what are you doing? That's crazy. I had him 3 overall at one point. But he was clearly a dominant prospect, a top stud running back behind a good offensive line. And he was great in the second half last year. So it was just so obvious that he was going to be really good. Now, I know he'd be the number 1 overall guy. No. But I thought there was a good chance he might be. So go ahead and get that guy. Another guy like that was Deontay Johnson. One of the leagues I won, the Primetime League, was my most high stakes league. I took him in the first, and Deontay Johnson, I reached in the third for him. He was going 4th in most drafts. But Deontay Johnson was just getting 1 million targets. I watched the guy play. He's the quickest guy in the field in every game I saw him play. Go ahead and get him. He's getting the targets. He's that guy who's going to take the next step. Now, I made some errors. I had A.J. Brown. He got hurt, and DK Metcalf had the Russell Wilson issues, and they were never really on the same page. So I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but just go get the guys who, you're like, okay, next year's magazine, this is probably going to be the guy. Don't be afraid to push those guys a whole round.
Taylor will certainly be the consensus 1-1. Deontay Johnson will likely be a 2-3 turn type of wide receiver, depending on the quarterback. Is there anybody that you have identified that you could push up a little bit at this point? I know a lot changes in the offseason, free agency, rookie drafts, but who is it right now, as we're recording this in early 2022, who you think might be that skate where the puck is going?
Well, just guys to get, right? Like Javonte Williams. I don't know what the Melvin Gordon situation will be. Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know what the Damon Harris, rookie backs who are fresh, who are in their second year. They demonstrated that they're good. Again, you got to look at roles and ADP and things like that, obviously, to get specific, next year. But I right now, those are 2 guys that I want to have on teams. Receivers, look for young receivers like Elijah Moore, who showed when he was healthy, he was explosive. He'll be expensive.
Young wide receivers are making a surge back up the ADP. The first round of fantasy drafts in 2022 is not going to be 11 running backs like it's been in the past. There is a chance for 5 wide receivers moving into the first round.
If there's no Jonathan Taylor available for me, I'm going to have to see what their situations is, whether McCaffrey's totally healthy, and consider guys like that. But the guys who took Devontae Adams this year did not go wrong. They got their money's worth. They were in the playoffs. They won some titles. Devontae Adams delivered. And Justin Jefferson, if you took him in the second and he'll be in the first, he delivered. Tyreek Hill was kind of bad down the stretch, but if you look at the overall numbers, you really didn't get cheated taking him late first. Obviously, there were some busts, like Hopkins, who got hurt, and Calvin Ridley, who left half the season. So, those were bad. But I think the receivers are safer. And, I probably wouldn't want to take Kupp off the career year in the top 5 or 6 picks. Maybe, pick 12, taking him and Jamar Chase would be great. I would do that. I've got no problem with it, basically, taking the receivers. And there's going to be a lot of very shaky running backs. I don't like Eckler off the workload. I was wrong about him this year. Henry could be great, but, he's had that massive workload, got hurt this year, got a foot injury. So a lot of the running backs, McCaffrey, Cook, are going to be sketchy. So I actually think savvy drafters, a lot of them are going to take receivers in the first round or 2.
I swore off tight ends in the first round many years ago when I took Jimmy Graham. Is this the year to fade tight ends in the top 30 picks and just wait and see what the draft gives you later on?
I think probably, but I'd have to really be put to it, at pick 30, pick 29. I've got Andrews available or Kelsey, and I'd have to look at who the receivers were and who the running backs were. I don't want to say a blanket statement, but my inclination, I got some Andrews in this year, and I got a lot of Gronk. And my feeling is you could get a Freiermuth in round 8. You could get a Hawkinson in round 7 or 8. You could probably get some guys for cheaper, and that's probably the direction I'll go to.
Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. We'll be putting out fantasy football content all offseason long. And go to RotoWire right now to get a free 10-day trial at rotowire.com/try.